welcome in. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thank you so much for streaming with us wherever you are. YouTube, Fox Local, or one of our fast channels. It's great to have you here. Drop some comments in our YouTube chat and we'll get to you in just a little bit. We know that one of the things a lot of people are facing is upgrading their driver's license or ID to a real federally approved ID. It's causing headaches across the nation. And our very own Caitlin Pratt is live at the airport giving us a look at travel and how things are faring. Caitlin, good morning.
Hey, Ariel, good morning to you. It's a weekend, it's Mother's Day. And bustle is real here at Atlanta's airport as usual. But we're hearing a new question. Usually it's any liquids, get rid of them. Now, do you have your real ID? It's one of the questions that helpers here at the main security checkpoint are asking as travelers make their way in here to security points. And outside where travelers enter, also a reminder about the new change as effective this week affecting travelers. Passengers will now need a real ID to board flights. And you can recognize a real ID by the star in the top right hand corner of your license. Cyber criminals, scammers are capitalizing on the rush to make sure you're current and capitalizing on the confusion around this real ID. They've launched scams posing as government agents, the DMV, the TSA, reaching out via text, email, social media to trick people into giving up some sensitive information. So how do you keep your information safe? We caught up with an expert.
Of any kind of news, especially news that has a self-imposed deadline to make people have to react quickly. So in this case, they're taking advantage of that by sending out emails, text messages, even phone calls to potential victims saying, hey, you need to get your real ID. So and by the way, here's a link you can click to go and register for your new real ID. The challenge we have is the scammer's web page looks almost exactly like the one that you were probably going to go to register for a real ID. And you'll put in a bunch of your information, maybe even a credit card information, your current driver's license number, maybe a passport number they may ask for. Any and all of that is up for grabs in terms of what the scammers are going to try to take after, take from you. And then once they receive that, if you unfortunately fall victim to it, your data and your information is going to go to a scammer who then can take advantage of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, scammers always going to be scamming, right? So just a reminder, if you are asked to provide additional information, like any bank account information, credit card numbers, very likely a red flag of a scam happening. The only way to obtain a real ID is by visiting the DMV in person. And in Georgia, you can also go online and get that process started. So go ahead, keep your information safe, your travel plans on track by staying current. And Ariel, I did talk with airport officials here, and if you don't have a real ID at this point, that's okay. This just went into effect on a Wednesday. They say at this point, as you go through security, if you just have your traditional license, they're going to ask you a couple of questions. They're going to give you a deadline on how to move forward, but don't worry, you're just going to be held up a little bit longer. So if you haven't made that transition yet, your real ID, you can still fly. You're just going to have to answer a couple of questions, allow yourself some going through security. And of course, if you have a passport, go ahead and bring that too. Military ID, those of course accepted, but just something to keep in mind. And of course, a lot of confusion whenever there's a deadline, right?
Caitlin, that's music to my ears because I was curious if I'm going to the Atlanta airport today and I don't yet have my real ID, will I not be able to get through that TSA line? So knowing that they're just going to probably give you some enhanced screening and give you that deadline, so good to know. I know it costs $32 here according to the Georgia DMV's website to get that real ID. So if you haven't done it yet, maybe make it a priority. Caitlin, thank you so much. We're going to, of course, check back in with you in a little bit, get a check of how travel is looking. For now, though, if you are headed out on this rainy Mother's Day and you're looking for something to do, maybe a festival is in line before the rain begins. Our very own Eli Jordan is out at Chastain Park, giving us a look at all the vendors and festivities before the rain rolls in, maybe later this afternoon. Eli, I know it starts at 11. How are we looking so far?
Hey, Ariel, we're an hour away from the opening up of the second day of the Chastain Park Art Festival, the 17th annual Chastain Art Park Festival. And vendors are starting to show up. Food trucks are showing up. They're getting parked and everything. And the tents, the curtains are pulling up. And I found Mark Harris, a woodworker from Anniston, Alabama. Roll Tide, Mark.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, and good morning. And just tell me, what was it like yesterday with all the rain?
It was, to me, it was pleasantly busy because you thought people, stay out of the rain, but there was a lot of traffic, a lot of foot traffic. Got a lot of interest, sold a couple of pieces. So all in all, it was a pretty good day.
What are you expecting today? Today seems a little bit better.
Expecting a lot better today, being Mother's Day, and hopefully they'll buy something for their mom.
So you're into woodworking and also epoxy resin. Tell me about some of this.
Yes, well, I'm a wood turner by passion, which is what that's what I'd rather do. But I do the resin art because it has wood. Everything I do has wood. It's a central element. And sometimes I'll do even the hybrids where you do the wood, the burls, and the resin as a hybrid. And I like burls. I'm specialized in burl, live edge, bark edge.
And these are really hard woods, aren't they?
Yes.
So how long have you been doing this?
About 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Since I
So do you go to many festivals around?
Yeah, about once or twice a month. And then take a summer off and then go back into the fall.
So is this your first Chastain Art
Yes,
Festival?
it is.
So what do you think about Chastain Park Art Festival?
I love it. I love the environment. I love the trees. Yeah, you got to have lots of trees, and I just like the area. I like the really easy in and out. They manage it really well.
These are some really nice artworks. And then if anybody has forgotten that today is Mother's Day, maybe this is something your mother would like. Come down here, check it out. If not, there's a lot of other booths out here, but this is really cool artwork. I know you put a lot of time, effort, and a lot of blood and soul into all this.
Oh yeah.
And so Ariel, we are looking at a much better day to start off than we did yesterday. And Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so, it's a lot better to start off, but later on, I think we're going to maybe around 2 or 3. I think the storms are supposed to roll in. But right now, all these artists are like, gearing up, do what they can, first thing early. We're about an hour away from when it opens up. Yeah, but more and more artists are getting here, opening up their booths, because they want to cash in on a decent weather today. That's the only thing about festivals is you're under, you got to worry about the weather. And I've thrown, some big parties before, and I've had to cancel before, reschedule. And this is something you can't really reschedule these because these artists are traveling from town to town, and they gotta put up and be vendors, rain or shine. So they're out here no matter what. And so come on out here and get yourself some good little handcrafts, some lotions and some salves and whatever, and some jewelry and some artwork, and come check out the 17th annual Chastain Arts Park Festival.
Eli, it looks like people are definitely
cool
getting ready. 175 vendors, more than 175 vendors. Pretty cool. Also, Chastain Park, for those of you who don't know, it's Fulton County's largest park. I was surprised to learn that. You would think Piedmont, but it's actually Chastain. So looks like there are a lot of people out there. And Eli, the festival today, it goes until 5. So I'm sure people, like you said, they're wanting to make use of this time before the rain, maybe this afternoon. So definitely get out there if that's a part of your Sunday. You're looking for something to do with your mom. I think that later in the afternoon, maybe no-go, depending on how the rain shakes out. We're going to get to Alex Forbes in just a bit and check in with him. But it goes until 5. So if you're trying to plan your day, wondering how long you can make it out there, 11 to 5 are the hours today. Eli, thank you. We're going to bring it back here.
You know what?
Oh, continue on. Hold on. Let's go back to you. You were going to tell me something, Eli.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. I didn't have much else to say. No, I was just going to say,
giving us a look.
What's different about this? Yeah, I'm just giving you a look. And it's also a lot cooler than normal, though. With the clouds and everything. It's a lot cooler. It's not as hot and brutal as it could be. So that's a benefit. You look at the pluses and minuses. Yeah, it's overcast. It's kind of gloomy. But at least it's not hot and sweltering. So
Amen.
I would say, any festival, this one at Chastain Park or any others, go ahead and get on out there and enjoy the coolness at least.
And the trees, great shade, Eli. I love it. Great point. Look at you infusing some positivity into our Mother's Day. Speaking of Mother's Day, let's get it over to Alex Forbes for a Mother's Day forecast. Alex, I thought we had talked about this previously. I thought there was going to be some sunshine for Mother's Day. You didn't really deliver. You didn't. I don't know. I thought you were gonna. I thought you were gonna have it for me, for the mothers out there.
I don't know what you were watching, but it wasn't me. It wasn't me. That's all I have to say. Yeah, Mother Nature not really cooperating with us on this Mother's Day, no doubt about it. Now you're looking at Fox 5 Live Viper going, okay, we're good right now. Well, what you don't see is the cloud cover and the fog we still have out there, along with a couple of scattered showers down on the northern extent of Lake Sinclair right now in parts of Putnam County, also over into Randolph County, Alabama, Chambers County, Alabama, lifting up towards Wadowee here in the next few minutes, and then Cleburne County, some sprinkles coming across the Heard County line as well. In Atlanta right now, we have made it to 60 degrees, 59 in Canton, 59 in Gainesville, 64 over in Eatonton, and 61 in Thomaston. We are also looking at the fog conditions beginning to improve. Let's say no visibility still in Atlanta, but everywhere else has just a little bit. 10 miles would be perfect visibility, but even where the fog is not that bad right now, we are looking at that low cloud cover still very much in place. So here we go through the afternoon. As the day rolls on, the rain chance goes up across north and central Georgia. Let's time it out hour by hour here. This northeasterly breeze and easterly breeze is super important because what that does is stabilize our atmosphere. So as you see storms lurking down to the south, notice it runs into North Georgia and it's like poof, no more storms. Maybe left with some heavier downpours in a handful of spots, but that's about it. So no severe weather today, but by the time we get to tomorrow morning, I am watching two threats for severe weather. The first between 3 and 11 a.m. See these storms here from really the Huntsville area down through Carrollton and Thomaston. Those are going to move from southwest to northeast across north and central Georgia. And as they do so, they're going to have a low end, spin up tornado threat, a damaging wind threat, and a hail threat, and I would prioritize them in that order. Think we'll see a break for the afternoon, and then once we get into the late afternoon, early evening hours, we'll see severe threat number 2 fire up, 4 to 11 p.m., the timeline on that. And you see the storms, they're scattered. I don't think everybody's going to see a storm, but those who do could see the threats of, and I'll put it in order again, damaging winds, large hail, and then the tornado threat would be at the bottom for the afternoon. So you're going to certainly check in with Joanne tomorrow morning. She's going to be tracking the storms through the morning hours on good day, and then we'll be tracking them again through the afternoon. Do somewhat of the same thing on Tuesday, maybe not the severe weather threat, but regardless, we do clear out and warm up with high temperatures close to 90 by the time we get to Friday. Ariel?
Alex, great to know. I have it in my brain. Damaging winds potentially first, hail second, tornadoes third.
For the afternoon threat, yes.
For the afternoon threat. Alex, thank you so much. We're going to check back in with you again throughout the morning. For now, you guys, let's get to some other news stories of the day. In Clayton County, an inmate escaped from getting medical treatment, led police on a wild chase, and you're taking a look at his photo now. So when we look at this, Sheriff's Office there in Clayton County says James DeMonte Beasley was brought to Southern Regional Medical Center for treatment around 3 a.m. Saturday. He's now facing a long list of new charges after escaping custody because just a couple hours later, he was able to free himself from handcuffs and shackles and then run. Now, while on the run, police believe Beasley changed his clothes and boarded a MARTA bus. Officers found him at the East Point MARTA station, but then they say he carjacked someone's black Ford F-150 and took off. After a short chase, Beasley reportedly crashed the car and was taken back into custody just after noon Saturday. It's not clear why he was taken to the hospital, how he managed to really escape or get a hold of those clothes, but we'll continue to keep you updated as we learn anything new about this case. And it is about that time, actually. We need to take a 2-minute break. And when we return, I caught up with I-Team investigator Dana Fowl about how to discuss the economy with your kids. So we had a conversation about that we're going to get to in the next 2 minutes. We'll see you back here. Ariel Onstadt here with I-Team investigative reporter Dana Fowle. Dana, lovely to have you here.
I know. Thanks for having me.
This is exciting. So you guys, Dana and I are talking about her piece this week and some of the research you've done. And this week you were answering questions and focusing on how to talk about the economy with your kids. Why did you want to have this discussion and focus on this week?
Because it's in the headlines.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I was growing up, when the news was done, they turned off the TV. The newspaper for the day was set aside. So if you didn't want your children or your teens to hear about potentially uncomfortable headlines, you could hide it from them. That is just absolutely impossible today. It is part of their social media channel. They are hearing that CDC had a lot of layoffs. Their friends' parents may have been at the CDC. So they're hearing about this. UPS just announced 20,000 layoffs coming. It's globally, but it trickles down to the Atlanta area, and their friends may be talking about that at school. So they worry about this, and they hear you talk about it too.
Especially, I think, you know, to your point, it used to be we could escape these things, but with social media and the way algorithms work, you may be scrolling something with your friends, you're looking at fun videos, and other things are going to pop up in there. And it's impossible to avoid. So how do you have these conversations with your kids? Because there is that human element. It's scary to watch mom and dad lose a job, or a friend's parent, and you start to worry that that could happen to you.
I have a 15-year-old, and she just randomly said to me one day, "Are we going to lose our house maybe?" That is a real serious thing that's been weighing on her head, and I don't know where she exactly came up with that. We live in the CDC area, so lots of job loss, so she does think about that.
Yeah.
And so you want to address it. You can't go, "Oh no, it's okay." They're smart enough to know something's going on. So you do need to address it. You need to talk to them about it. And one thing I suggest is if they are bouncing off of you being stressed out, say they see it in your face, don't talk to them about it right then. Say, "Hey, let's set aside a different opportunity to talk about this. That way you can bring your temperature down, and it brings their temperature down, and everybody can talk more openly about what is going on with the economy and how that may or may not affect them." And the conversation needs to be age appropriate.
Sure.
You know, I mean, you don't give them any more than they're asking for.
Right.
And then you can turn these into really positive financial conversations. One of them is, every family should always periodically look at their budget.
Yes.
So this is just another opportunity to take a look at the family budget. I know something we did was, hey, how many streaming services do we have right now?
Yeah.
I mean, they get away from all of us because we get these deals. And I have found at times that I was paying for a service twice through different spaces. This is just a really good time to do that. So I said to the people in my house, "Tell me what you're really watching for a week or two." And we realized there was one of them, no, we didn't even remember we had it. That is a good way to eliminate waste.
And Dana, I think really what it comes down to here, and based on what you're saying, is you're trying to take a very variable, heavy situation.
That's right.
And distill it down to what you can control.
That's
Kids cannot control the economy. They cannot control the larger world. They can, however, understand, hey, as your parent, let's look at our finances, and you as a child, I'm going to take care of you. We're going to work through this. Let me give you a sense of empowerment with this knowledge to show you what we are controlling as a family.
Right, because they're not asking you about inflation
or they want to know how it affects
what's
them.
happening at the ports, you know, the Savannah port. They're not asking you about that. They're trying to figure out how it's going to impact their lives, as most people do.
Right.
And, you know, this is another really good opportunity to say, you know how mom and dad are always talking about savings, and we've got this emergency fund. This is why we have that emergency fund, just in case the economy has a hiccup, because it always does.
It's funny you say that, because I remember growing up and just like my parents, my dad especially, just being obsessed about the emergency fund.
Right.
And it wasn't until the emergency fund was taken care of that we could do fun things as a family.
Right.
And I had that memory as a child, and it stuck with me. And I think that, you know, there are certain things that, like, as we grow, we think don't matter to young kids or even teens, but based on the question your daughter asked you, it's like they are thinking about this.
Right.
So
that came, I don't even know where that came from. I was just looking at her and said, "Did you say, are we going to lose our home?" We're not losing our home.
Yeah.
You know, the economy is a little, there's a hiccup right now.
Sure.
And we're all trying to figure it out together.
What this means.
Yeah. And, you know, there's another way that you can spend it, particularly if you have younger kids. Maybe you cut out eating out. That's
Sure.
that is not an unusual thing to sort of cut back on
My
eating.
parents did it all the time.
Yeah. And so Fridays, a lot of time can be pizza night. You go to the
Yes.
neighborhood pizza parlor. Maybe you say, hey, we've got something new for Friday.
Sure.
We're going to have pizza night, but we're making pizza at home, and we're going to eat in front of the TV.
Yeah.
Rule breaking. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
You can put a spin on it.
Sure. I am also curious about, are there other resources out there? You know, I think a big thing is taking stock of what you can control. There's streaming services, subscriptions you're not really using. You start to really think, what can we pare down to and really make the most of what we have? Are there other things that you can do besides budgeting and besides taking stock of what's in control to help set your kids up for success?
Well, I do want to touch on this point. I think alleviating the stress, because you want to take that away from them.
Anxiety.
And so asking them a direct question like, how are you feeling? Well, if you have teenagers, you know you get nothing out of that. You're getting absolutely nothing out of that.
Yeah.
What you can do is go, hey, what are your friends talking about? Boom, opens it up, changes the conversation.
Yes.
Next thing you know, well, Harper was worried today at lunch. She started to pack because her parents are worried about money. Oh, what kind of worries do they have? And then you start to hear what she and her friends are talking about and what she really is thinking about.
It's genius.
Yes. And you need to encourage them to, hey, if you're feeling weird about this, if you're getting uncomfortable, if things are coming to your head, if you're not sleeping, please come to us.
Yeah.
Talk to a friend, and don't forget the guidance counselor at school.
Sure. Important.
Yeah.
Dana, when you start to put these together, you know, I know you do this for Good Day, and we're doing this, of course, streaming right here on Fox Local, YouTube, or a FAST channel, wherever you're streaming with us. First of all, welcome and thanks for being here. But I'm curious, I want to know a little bit about your process as you're putting this together. Where do you get your information, and how do you distill this into what people are actually watching with us now?
From viewers like you. I mean, honestly, we get so many emails. I run into so many viewers in the grocery store and checkout. I cannot tell you that. I mean, every single time I check out at the grocery store, people walk up to me and say, have you talked about this? Have you thought about this? Can you help me with this? That's how we know what people want to talk about.
Right.
And of course, some of it is a little bit of common sense. The economy is the overriding issue right now in a lot of headlines, and so you can't ignore that. And just like in our own lives, my 15-year-old says, are we going to lose the house? If my 15-year-old is thinking that, I think a lot of them are.
And I think it's, you know, so much, it's big words, it's kind of scary, abstract concepts for kids who don't understand it, and giving them that understanding and sense of control to say, this is what this means, this is what we're doing, this is why we have this under control. And if, as a parent, if you don't, right, like if you're watching this and maybe you as a parent are feeling that anxiety or feeling out of control yourself, maybe that's a good chance to take stock and say, what can I do so I feel more secure in my situation?
Right.
So then I can give that peace of mind. Because as you said earlier, kids are smart and they're going to pick up on our energy.
And I have these same feelings about what's going on. There isn't anybody today who's not feeling a little bit antsy about what's happening. And so I take stock. What am I doing? I stop doom scrolling at night. Like, you can't do that. We can't live this way.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to walk.
You do.
You know, you feel, you know, everything's percolating. You're like, you know what? I'm going to grab a dog and I'm going to walk. And it just brings down the temperature. And if you're feeling this stress, the number one thing we have to do is eat right and sleep. Sleep.
Back to the basics.
Back to the basics.
Be simple.
Sleep deprivation is a form of torture. And there's a reason. You can't function when you're not sleeping. Make sure you get that sleep.
And I, you know, I read this. I'm going to butcher like whoever said it, so I'm not going to try to give the verbatim quote, but I will distill the idea because I think this is important. It's the idea of social media makes us feel very global and very small in the grand scheme of things, which is fine. But the reality is we're living here in the present with our neighborhoods, our communities. And so often when I feel out of control with just things that are happening in the world, I plug it right back into my community, my neighborhood. Let's bring it back smaller. Where am I existing and living in right now? And how can I be good and give back in that situation? And suddenly that control comes back to me.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. You can only control this space right now. And if there are things bumping into that are disrupting that balance, you've got to shut them out. And that is social media. That constant this.
Yes.
Stop.
There's a reason why.
And it's habit forming. And you know, a friend of mine did this, and this really works. She turned her screen into a gray space, took the color out, made it monochromatic. Your brain does not like that.
That's genius.
Yes, I guess dopamine from the colors will trigger the interest, and when you take that color away, she said it cut her scrolling.
You know, I'm not surprised
down.
by that because the developers of the software, Meta, Instagram, TikTok, those kind of beginning stages of social media with Facebook, the way that you scroll and then you get the little rainbow wheel, or it would refresh and come back up and make the little dingling as you get fresh content. They actually studied slot machines in Vegas to put that together for social media. So the same way you get a dopamine hit or the rush when you pull the slot machine and the colors go and it spins, the same thing happens when you refresh your social media to get new content. So taking away the color, I would imagine.
And all of that, you know, when you watch
like
someone
your brain.
that somebody with an interesting recipe, there's a constant the fire, all these noises that are crunch, pop, snap. That triggers your brain to enjoy that and to not want to stop watching. So maybe cut the volume down and take the color out.
All tips that we can try. Dana, thank you so much. I know we could talk forever. Is there anything else about discussing the economy with the kids that I did not ask you that you want to share with people today?
I mean, I think one of the things we're starting to see is, and this went into a different topic we covered this week, is the boomerang kid. With the economy being what it is, some of your older kids, 18 to 35, are now wrapping and coming back into the house because they need to save money. Here's our piece of advice for that. If you've got the older set coming back in, make sure you sit down and lay ground rules.
Boundaries are important.
The boundaries are important because you just let them move in. Nobody knows what they are. There's a lot of ill will. Everybody reverts back to sort of this teenage behavior. Are you paying rent? What is your timeline? Will you be helping with the chores? Actually, you will be helping with the chores.
What does this look like?
Yeah, you need to help with dinner and groceries and make sure this is clear up front.
Dana, thank you. I appreciate you. We're going to see you again here, I'm sure, soon. We're going to be doing this a little bit more often. So you guys, if you have any questions for Dana, things you want her to look into, of course, you can send us a DM on social media, and I'm sure they can reach you on social media.
You can reach me on social media, or you can just email me.
Perfect. All right, Dana, what's your email?
Dana.Fowle, and that's Fowle @fox.com.
Perfect.
Just send me a note. Tell me, what's on your mind and what you want to talk about, and a lot of times that's what we talk about.
And maybe you'll have a question and we'll answer it here. We love doing that. So you guys, thank you so much for streaming with us. I'm Ariel Onstadt, Dana Fowle. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll have more content for you coming up after.